Welcome to the live class. Today we are going to talk about phrases with make. So hopefully you're ready. Again, like I usually say, turn up the volume on your phone since I can't adjust the audio after. Good morning. How's everyone doing today? I'm doing pretty well myself. Happy it's the weekend. This weekend is like Easter weekend, in case any of you celebrate Easter. Maybe also Passover. Is that the same day? If any of you are Jewish, Passover might be the same day or week. Here, I think it was a holiday yesterday. We call it Good Friday. I worked because sometimes I think when you work freelance, you don't always follow the national holidays. But how are you guys doing today? Good morning. So, like I said, today we're going to practice some phrases with the word make. It's a very common word. I find sometimes people get confused with the word make, especially if you speak a Romance language, because there's not a different word for make and do, so that can be confusing for people. Hi, Leticia. Hello. Happy Easter. Hello. Welcome. Happy Easter, everyone, if you celebrate Easter. Otherwise, happy Saturday. I know really tomorrow's Easter, but we can wish each other a happy Easter a day early. Namaste from India. Namaste. All right. So, hello. How are you doing? Good morning, everyone. Make do. True. Good evening from Vietnam. Is there an Easter Monday as well? Yeah, actually there is. It's not always celebrated. It might depend on where you live, but I've heard it called Easter Monday. So you could say, oh, at my work we get Easter Monday off if your work follows the Catholic holidays or the Christian holidays in general. Okay, so I'm going to get us started. Hello from Australia. Hello and welcome. Okay. Also, I'm going to post the live on my page after, so you can see it there as well. The first phrase that I'm going to put here, and I want you to tell me if you've ever heard it before, is make a killing. So let me know if any of you have ever heard of this phrase before. If I say that someone makes a killing or made a killing, does anyone know what that means? I made a killing, or he, she makes a killing. Nope. Getting the big bucks. Yes, exactly. So make is very often used with money. That's one of the situations when it's better to use make and not do. So exactly, make money in a short time. It could also just be to make money in general. Like if someone is the CEO of a company, you could say, oh, he makes a killing. A killing is a lot of money. I don't know the origin of the phrase. We just use the phrase. We don't necessarily relate it to the original understanding of what killing means. But something you should remember is to make money. Yeah, it's not about killing people. It's, I'd make a killing for my favorite fish. Maybe it's related to fishing or something like that, actually. So in general, we use the word make to mean to make money. So make money. In this case, make a killing is to make a lot of money. The important thing when it comes to idioms is that the phrase itself is often from a situation, like a really old situation or something that doesn't really make sense anymore. So often when you see an idiom, it's not really going to make logical sense when you see it. So, for example, there's an idiom in English, he runs a tight ship. And if you say that today, it doesn't make sense. He runs a tight ship. That's like he's very structured. But back in the day, to run a tight ship was because you would tie everything to the ship. That's what used to happen in the past. So sometimes these idioms have some sort of like historical origin. So they might not make any sense now, but yeah, we make money, we make the big bucks, we make a killing. We use make with money phrases. If anyone has an example, feel free to comment. You could say, he makes a killing working for the bank, for example, is one way that you could use this phrase. Also, hello to everyone that's joining. We are talking about phrases with the word make today. So, to make a killing. I wonder, yeah, I'm not sure what the original, yeah, it has nothing to do with violence. I don't know what the original, like, reason that people used it. So, that will be something that we have to look up later. Okay, I have a different phrase here. Maybe you guys have heard of. Make your mouth water. Cristiano Ronaldo makes a killing with every post on Instagram. Yes, exactly. That's a good sentence. Yeah. Perfect. I'm sure he does. I don't know how much people make from Instagram posts, like the famous people, but I saw on TikTok there was an influencer who had a deal where she was being paid like $1 million per post. And I was like, what? That is a killing. If you're thinking of, okay, what's a killing? It's a person making $1 million from a post on Instagram. Yeah. So the next one that I have here, we have make a killing, or in general, make money. This one is make your mouth water. What is an example of something that makes your mouth water? Does anyone have an idea about what this could mean? If you say, it makes my mouth water. Also, hi if you're joining. Today we're talking about phrases that use the word make. Phrases and idioms that use the word make. So, what does it mean when something makes your mouth water? And what's an example of something that makes your mouth water? It's kind of similar to lemon makes my mouth water. Okay, so you are a fan of acidic foods. Yes, something delicious, very tasty. Yeah. Chicken butter, I would change it. Butter chicken, maybe. Because chicken butter would be like butter that tastes like chicken. So I think it would be butter chicken. Makes my mouth water, making me so hungry. Exactly. Makes my mouth water. Yeah, it's only associated with foods because, like, it's basically the idea that you want to eat something. So if you're like, that puppy is so cute, it makes my mouth water, people might be like, so you want to eat the puppy? So So I would definitely only use it with things that you want to eat, because otherwise people will be like, bro, what's wrong with you? Why do you want to eat that, I don't know, animal or something? What's the best context to use this make a killing? It would be like when you're talking about someone who makes a lot of money. So if you maybe like you're talking about a person that you know, like, or that a famous person, like, oh, Cristiano Ronaldo, yeah, he makes a killing on Instagram. Like when you're commenting that someone makes a lot of money somewhere. Probably, like, we often use it in a very exaggerated way. So like someone who makes a lot of money. Not really like if you get a small Christmas bonus or something, you wouldn't say like, oh, I just made a killing. It would be more like someone who makes a lot of money. You could comment on it with that phrase. Sopaipillas. Ooh, yeah. With pebre. Not a big mustard sopaipilla person. It reminds me of how dogs slobber. Okay, yeah. It's interesting. We kind of call it slobber when it's like an animal, slobber. But also we say drool when a person's mouth waters. You can say, I'm drooling. And that's like this action also. So I'm drooling. A lot of people drool in their sleep. Elon Musk makes a killing. Yeah, well, okay, so here's the thing. This idiom is not related to actually killing people. So it would just be to say that he makes a lot of money. Yes, like any billionaire, Elon Musk makes a killing doing his businesses. Robert Downey is going to make a killing with Avengers Doomsday. Yes, exactly. When Barca scored goals. Your mouth watered. So, yeah, that's to make your mouth water. Any kind of physical reaction that you have to something, like when it affects you physically or emotionally, it's the most common to say make. If you get confused between make and do, that's one important thing. So like, it makes my head hurt, it makes my mouth water, it makes me happy, it makes me sad. So make is often used with how something physically or emotionally affects you. Is making a killing and making a living the same? No. So make a living just means that you make a salary and you have enough money to live. Like, oh, he makes a living working at a store, for example. Make a killing is like a crazy amount of money. So that would be the difference. Make a living is like you just make the money, kind of like a normal person, you make the money that you need to live. And then make a killing is like no one needs that amount of money type of money. Also, hello everyone that's joining. We're talking about this phrase, make your mouth water, which means that something's really delicious and it makes you drool a little bit. Yeah. Does anyone have an example of something that makes their mouth water? We have lemon, butter chicken. Those, I agree, those both make my mouth water too. Maybe, I'm thinking, recently I've been thinking about Mexican food, like tacos and a horchata on the side. That makes my mouth water. That's a specific craving. We use this word also to crave something or to have a craving. I'm craving tacos, for example. That is like to have a strong desire to eat something. So if you're a Spanish speaker, tener antojo a algo, decimos I'm craving. Hi for us. Okay, chocolate cake. Ooh, like the Matilda chocolate cake from the movie. That's what I imagine with chocolate cake. Okay, I have a different phrase. Okay, make. Yes, exactly. I'm craving. So make up your mind will be the next one. Let me see. Birthday cakes, especially if the host makes us wait too long for serving us. Yeah, so you're like, come on, we've sang to you like 5 times. Why are you making us wait to have a slice of your cake? Yeah. Especially if you go to a party and they, like, you didn't really have dinner because it wasn't, like, time for dinner, and then they just have chips as the food, and you're like, okay, I feel like I'm starving to death. Like, there was no protein or, like, anything filling at this, party, and now I'm waiting and it's like midnight and I just want a slice of cake to not pass out. When she's making cake, yes, this makes my mouth water. So if it's a thing that makes your mouth water. Yeah, for me, the smell of something being baked makes my mouth water. Yes, to make up your mind is to decide. Exactly. Make up your mind. So you need all 4 of these words together. Make up your mind. When you have a fixed expression like this, it's not really possible to switch a word and be understood. So in this case, if you want to say to decide, you need to say make up your mind. It's not possible to say make up your head, like you can't really change any word and have it make sense. You have to use the fixed expression that people use. It means to be strongly decided, not just have made a decision. Joel made up his mind about saving Ellie from the fireflies. Yes. Yeah, he made up his mind. Exactly. Yeah, it's like a stronger, it's not like, I'm still making up, well, you could use it to say like you're making a decision. I'm still making up my mind, but usually it's like a more important decision, like now I'm decided, like this is what's going to happen. So like, I didn't know whether or not I wanted to move houses, but I've made up my mind and it's the best option for me. So it's kind of like when you make a decision and then you're set in this decision. That would be to make up your mind. He hasn't made up his mind about whether to accept the job or not. I would say he hasn't made up his mind about whether to accept the job or not. Perfect. That's a really good sentence. Sí, hola Gaby. Sí, guardo siempre los lives en mi página después. El volumen siempre está un poco más bajito que mis otros videos, pero espero que puedas escucharlo. But yes, I put all of the lives after on my page. Hello, happy Easter. Yeah, if you guys are arriving late, we're talking about phrases with the word make. So this one we have is to make up your mind. If any of you have made a difficult decision, for example, you could also think of it this way. It's good to think in patterns, right? We make a plan, we make a decision, we make up our mind. So we've talked about make, we use with money, make a living, make a killing. We use make with emotions and physical reactions. It makes my mouth water. And we use make when it comes to decisions. Make a decision, make up your mind, make a plan. Schönen Nachmittag, liebe Anne. He said he needed some time to make up his mind. Yeah, that's a good sentence. Happy Easter, Miriam. Thank you, Gabby. Happy Easter. I hope you enjoy your Easter. Okay, so make up your mind, make a decision, right? Okay. Make up a story. So remember that in English, we have a difference with the word story and history. History is like, I'm talking to you about George Washington and the history of the United States, or I study history. This means that I learn the important dates and times of past events. A story is like any sort of narration that you tell a person. That would be a story. Yeah. Please stop making up excuses. Yeah. Okay, this is a really good phrasal verb, to make up. And it has multiple meanings. So if anyone has an example with to make up, definitely put it in the chat. I'll give the different uses of makeup. So a couple people gave make a big effort. Make an effort. Yeah, exactly. You make an effort. Exactly. You make an effort. I made that up, making up excuses. So, yeah, he make up his mind. Yeah, he made up his mind to be a teacher, not an engineer, I would say. Instead of then an engineer, not an engineer. To make up is to reconcile, to make peace. Yeah. So when we make up, there's different meanings, and I think this can be confusing. So one, like you guys said, is to make up a story, make up a lie. This is like to invent something. So if someone tells you something that you can't really believe, he made up that he met Cristiano Ronaldo. Yeah, it's like, are you making this up? Are you lying? Are you creating stories? Are you making this up? And it's not possible to just say make. You need to say the whole phrase, make up. Then there's also the one that means to reconcile. So we use to make up with someone. Or to say they made up. So you could say, I made up with my neighbor, or or just like we made up. This is one that this hilarious story about the bear in the hospital was obviously completely made up. Yes, exactly. This is the other use of to make up. If any of you know the Katy Perry song, where she says, you're hot and you're cold, you're yes, then you're no, you're in and you're out. That song where she's like, you're hot and then you're cold, talking about a romantic partner who changes their mind a lot. She says, we fight, we break up, we kiss, we make up, right? So we fight, we break up, we end the relationship, and then we kiss and we make up, we reconcile, and now we are okay again, we're friends again. So if I'm fighting my neighbor, and then he comes and says sorry to me, because obviously he was in the wrong, I could say I made up with my neighbor, or we made up. I took a minute to make up my mind whether to do Mickey D's or KFC for lunch. Nice, exactly. For those of you who don't know, Mickey D's is another way to say McDonald's. So, Mickey D's. Okay, another one. This is good. So talking about like my mouth watered or other physical reactions, make my head spin. What do you think it could mean if I say that made my head spin? What could it mean if something makes my head spin? What do you think? Any ideas? Also, hello if you're joining. We're practicing different phrases with the word make today. Yes, exactly. So if something makes your head spin, imagine like a cartoon character who's like, woo, whose head spins like that. It's that they are very confused, like to make you very confused. Or it could be to make you feel dizzy. So, Taylor Swift and Donald Trump have made up in my imagination. That's funny. So it has these two uses. It could be like the physical one or more like the emotional one. So, if you drink a lot and then you feel very nauseous and dizzy, we call it dizzy when you're like seeing stars, you could say it made my head spin. But also it could be that a topic that's very confusing to you makes your head spin. So the example I have here, I don't understand the instruction manual for the computer program. All the technical jargon just makes my head spin, for example. I can't get on a roller coaster because it makes my head spin. Your reels make me happy. Thank you, Miriam. Nice. So that's to make your head spin. We have make my mouth water, make my head spin. What about, this is another body one. It makes my blood boil. Does anyone know what it means if something makes your blood boil? What that means? Hello, if you're joining, we're practicing different phrases that you can use with make. So we've talked about phrases with make related to money. You can make money, make a killing, make a living. We also use make a lot with these different body reactions, whether it's physical or more emotional. Yes, nice job, guys. So to become angry, the British accent makes my head spin. Angry, to make you extremely angry. Yes, if something makes your blood boil, you are pissed. You are super mad. So I'm curious, if any of you have something that makes your blood boil, let us know, because I think it takes something pretty extreme to make your blood boil. I'm thinking if there's something that makes my blood boil. There are definitely things that make my blood boil. For example, when I see people be really mean to children in public, that makes my blood boil. Like, it's happened to me before at the grocery store where there's a child like, la la la, and then the mom, I don't even know the mom, but some lady that's there is like, shut up, like, or curses at the child or something. That makes my blood boil, because I'm like, that was not deserved. The chick from The Exorcist made her head spin. That's true in a very literal way. When somebody puts trash in nature, it makes my blood boil. I would say, you can say throws trash in nature, Or we have a very specific word for this in English, which would be to litter. To litter. That is like the crime or act of throwing trash on the ground, on the street, into nature. So you'll see, for example, sometimes there will be signs that are like, no littering, against the law. $500 fine for littering. What time do your classes start? They start at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So like 10 a.m. New York, Miami, Santiago, Chile time. Entitled people make my blood boil. Yeah, remember if you say people to say make my blood boil because people is plural. But yeah, if any of you guys don't know what the word entitled means, this is a really good word to use, like someone who feels like they're the owner of something, or like they can have things, or that they deserve more than they should. So like a lot of the time, for example, if I don't know, if I am working with someone and they're like, you do all the work, and then they take more money, but they do less work. That's an entitled person. Like, they take more than they should. The new tariff policy is making my blood boil. I think a lot of people would agree with that. It's making my head spin also. People being mean to animals. Yes, agreed. Just the sight of her made my blood boil. When people listen to music loudly in public transportation, it makes my blood boil. Seeing someone abusing animals makes my blood boil. Listening fast English makes my blood boil. I'm so sorry for my fast listening exercise this week. If that traumatized anyone, I apologize. I did it because it was a very popular request. If you didn't understand it, that's okay. It's completely normal if you didn't understand. If probably like my grandmother wouldn't have understood what I was saying. Trump makes my blood boil. It's usual at your job to have your blood boil or your head spin. Or yeah. None of you guys make my blood boil. Just hearing talk of war makes my blood boil. Yeah, definitely. I think any like violent actions, it's like completely unnecessary. Okay. Here is a good one. Stupidity combined with being cheeky makes my blood boil. In Germany, we call it dummfretsch. I wonder what stupidity combined with being cheeky is. It's like, I don't know. Maybe we have a word for that. Like, yeah, what would the word be in English? Like, it's more than just someone being dumb. They're like dumb and they're also trying to... People might just say that you're a dumbass. I don't know. There's probably a more specific word. Okay, another one is to make a comeback. This is a very specific phrase. My blood was boiling. Last year, an old lady was screaming to her grandchild in La Feria. Okay, yeah, I have seen situations like that in public where I'm like, oh my god, this poor defenseless child. That makes my blood boil also. Yeah. Okay, so this one is in a different direction, to make a comeback. What does it mean if someone makes a comeback? This is very specific. To return with a bang. Nice job, silly sausage. You're on a roll today. If you can think of an example of a person or thing that has made a comeback, let me know. So, what is a person or thing that has made a comeback? This is interesting. Maybe with make, we can also think of to make a comeback. We make progress, for example. And so, like, we make a comeback. He made a strong comeback after the poor start of a race. Robert Downey Jr. is going to make a comeback with Avenger Doomsday. Yes. Robert Downey Jr. Avenger Doomsday is a great example today for... Yeah. Okay. Tiger Woods, after his sex scandal, made a comeback. In football, we see a lot of comebacks. Yeah. Nice. So, for those of you who don't know, I'll read the definition here. To make a comeback is when someone or something was popular or successful, then loses its popularity for a while, and then starts to gain popularity again. This last part is making a comeback. It's frequently used with fashion trends, pop culture fads, and singers and celebrities whose careers have gone down. So you could say the actor's last 2 films were terrible, but he's making a comeback with his most recent movie. It's got great reviews. You could also use it a lot with fashion trends. Recently, mullets, the hairstyle, having a mullet, party in the front, business, or is it business in the front, party in the back? Mullets have been making a comeback. Remontada. I don't know what you mean by that. Yes, you could also use it with political parties. In Germany, the Conservative Party is making a comeback. I don't know why recently the Twilight movie is making a comeback. I think it's because of their social media people. Have you guys seen the Twilight movie Instagram account? Because they are hilarious and they post a lot of like kind of, I would say, unhinged content on social media. Unhinged is like crazy or very out there content. Kylie makes lots of comebacks. Yeah, if it's lots, it would be lots of comebacks with her amazing fashion style. In Germany, the Conservative Party made a comeback. Yeah. Motorola has made a comeback with the last cell phone. Yeah, so I would say has made a comeback. The singer came back after 3 years of silence, yeah, or made a comeback after 3 years of silence. Hello, welcome. If you're joining, we are talking about phrases with the word make. Also, I'm glad that you understand my pronunciation. The Terminator made several comebacks in the last decade. It would be amazing to have a Nokia comeback. Like a Nokia flip phone comeback. Okay, I have another phrase here with make. To make light of something. Sam Altman made a comeback with Ghibli style. After 2 weeks of absence, I made a comeback at the retraining. The cockroach made a comeback after I sprayed it with Raid. Yes. Okay, so to make light of something. To make light of something. We could even use some of these phrases in combination with one another, like, when he made light of the situation, it made my blood boil. Yeah, the live will be on my page right after. I'll post the full live. Yeah, you will need to turn up your volume because the volume is always quieter than my other reels. So, warning. Yeah, so to make light of something, this is to treat something as unimportant. So maybe something is actually kind of heavy and you make light of it. You act like it's lighter or less important than it actually is. So for example, don't make light of the communication problems between our employees. It's really a serious situation that needs to be resolved. So to make light of something. You could think of an example like, what is something that we should not make light of? Take the mickey out of something. I don't know that phrase. What is take the mickey out of something? Pointing out something. It's more specific than pointing out something. Pointing out something is like someone indicating this is important. This is like the opposite in a way. It's like I point out something and say, this is important. You make light of it and say, actually, it's not that important. That would be to make light of something. So, for example, if I tell you it's really serious, the crime in our city has gone up by 5,000%, you could make light of that and say, no, it's not as serious as you think it is. We have a bunch of funny people being funny. That's that's what's happening. It's not real crime. To make light of something is to treat something as unimportant. That would be the definition. To treat something as unimportant. So if someone comes to you with a topic that they think is important and you basically write it off as that's not so important, it's kind of funny, it's not really a big deal, that is to make light of something. To diminish something, exactly. So for example, I did not make light of these Saturday lessons. Don't make light of the oven temperature when you're cooking. Yeah, I would say, okay, here, thinking about it more, it's like if I tell you, you would say that if it seemed like the person was kind of making it less important than it was. So if you're like, be careful with the oven, Maggie, and then I'm like, yeah, whatever you say, like, you're acting like that's so important, but it's not, you could say, no, seriously, don't make light of the oven temperature. So it would be more like in a reaction to someone reducing the importance of something. Instead of being like, preemptively or before the situation, be careful. It's more like the person acts like something's unimportant and you're like, no, seriously, this is important. Like, don't act like it's not as important as it is. When a friend asks you to leave a toxic relationship, it could be used in that case, but you have to be kind of specific with how you would use it. So, for example, you could say, I noticed my friend is in a toxic relationship, but when I asked her about it, she made light of it and said, no, we just don't really have the same interests, and so that's why we don't really get along. And you're like, girl, don't make light of it. It's more serious than that. You have like a very toxic relationship. Yeah, I am married. Hi from Panama. Make light of your weight. this is a specific phrase. It's not like to make anything lighter. It would be used specifically to say to make something seem like less important. No te lo tomes a la ligera. It sounds, I don't know if it would be exactly the same connotation, but I think that would be like the same idea, yeah. Haters make light of the lessons. Yeah, so it's kind of like, don't mess around. Don't act like what I'm saying isn't as important as it really is. My friend made light of the toxic consumption of drinking alcohol. Yeah. Okay, so it is no. Here, wait, where is it? Yeah, if you speak Spanish, no te lo tomes a la ligera. Yeah, so don't make light of it. Okay, another one. Okay, this is a good one. To can't make I was making light of, yes, the other day I was making light of my eye injury. Exactly. It's like if you have a serious thing, like you get injury and then and you're like, whatever, it's fun. That's to make light of something. Okay, this is one that people mentioned earlier, which was to make do. So I thought this would be a good one because it looks simple, but it's confusing because you're like, okay, make do or make do. So to make do with something is to manage it with the resources available, especially when something is missing. For example, sorry, I forgot to buy paper towels. We'll just have to make do with napkins. To make something be enough. Exactly. We'll just have to make do with napkins because I didn't buy any more paper towels. So you can think of a time where you needed to just use what you had on hand in order to get by. That would be to make do. We'll just make do, and then it's common. So here's another recommendation I have when you're learning phrases. It's important to know what is the connector you can add to it after, or what goes after the phrase so that you can actually structure a sentence and not just know individual phrases. So that's part of why I don't think vocabulary lists are usually as helpful unless you add examples. So for example, make do, we have to add with after. Make do with something. Sorry, I didn't make food. We have to make do with leftovers. Yeah, exactly. We have to make do with leftovers. I'll make do with whatever I got in the pantry for dinner. Yeah. I'm the English podcast today. Also, hello, if you're joining, we're practicing some phrases using the word make. So far, just to sum it up, we have talked about how make can be used with phrases related to money. You make money, you make a living, you make a killing. You make could be used with an effect that something has on your body. Like it makes your mouth water, it makes your head spin. It can also be used with decisions, to make up your mind, make a decision, make a plan. It can also be used with progress, to make a comeback. And here, to make do. This is like to deal with the situation using the resources that you have on hand. I didn't buy any... I was going to just say a really bad... I don't know if any of you lived in the United States during the pandemic, but at some point there was like a very serious toilet paper shortage where everyone bought all of the toilet paper from the stores. And I was living with two other women at the time, and we needed more toilet paper, and because there were 3 of us in the house, and so I was scared that we were going to have to make do with napkins. But I had to walk really far to a far grocery store, and finally I found some toilet paper, and they said only 1 per person, so that was really funny, the toilet paper shortage in the US. Yeah, make it possible. Make it work. We can think of other similar phrases, like make it work with what you have, make do with what you have. I'm the make do queen in the kitchen. I'm always finding a solution with the things that I have handy. Yes, exactly. Sometimes I feel like my food is better when I have more restrictions. Like when I have to make do, I feel like it tastes even better because I had to work harder. With so little ingredients, I have to make do with what I had on hand in the kitchen. Really nice. I'm thinking I would slightly change the phrasing here. With so few ingredients. With so few ingredients. Yeah. To be honest, this is one of those things where a lot of native speakers are bad with little and few and like switch them. So you'll hear a lot of people just say little all the time. But technically the correct one would be few is used for things that are countable and little is used for things that are not countable. So anytime you can make something plural, that means it's countable. You can have 1 ingredient or several. So ingredients, if it's possible that the word can be plural, it makes it countable. I don't have a WhatsApp group. I have a Discord group, actually, that I have in my bio. I have to update the invitation link every week because it expires after a week. So I think it's updated. So yeah, I have a link to a Discord chat or Discord group in my bio. And I'm trying to, sometimes I post questions for people to answer in there. So if you guys have Discord, you can check out the link in my bio. Manage with what you have, exactly. The people selling the toilet paper were making a killing. Yes, exactly. Silly sausage. I'm picking on you because you have excellent English and you always bring all the good phrases to the class and your understanding of English is phenomenal. But gotta watch out with people and the agreement with the word people. People were. Manage with what you have. Many times I make do with the vocab I got. That's a really good strategy for speaking English. Yes. Noah asked for waffles, but I ran out of eggs, so I make do with chickpeas water instead. Ooh, okay. How did that go? I've never tried to make waffles with chickpea water. At the beginning, I was making do with my knowledge With my knowledge, not plural, that's not countable, of speaking English, maybe? My knowledge of speaking English. Why can you say make a cake or make dinner instead of using do? Yeah, so it's because there are some contexts when it's better to use make and others when it's better to use do. When it comes to preparing food or creating something, we always use make. And you can see this also with other things. So, for example, if it's related to a test, a lot of people say, oh, is it make a test or do a test? If you make a test, you're the person that created the test. You're the teacher. If you do the test, you're the one that goes in and completes the questions. So make is often related to the creation of things. Do we use with other specific chores, like do the dishes, do the laundry? But yeah, really when we're focusing on the end product, like you're making dinner or making a cake, we can only use the word make because that's what makes sense. It's like to prepare something. And I would say there's not really a reason why, it's just that there are different uses of both words in English, right? So if you, for example, if you're a Spanish speaker, maybe you're like, oh my God, it doesn't make sense, make and do, like when to use which one, because there's in Spanish only hacer. Think about it this way, for English speakers, for me, it does not make sense, like ser y estar. ¿Estás loco? Okay, that doesn't make sense, because for me, it's like you are crazy, like you're a crazy person, like eres loco. Or for example, the other one is like, why is it eres casado, pero estás muerto? Estás vivo. It's like, what? Why? Like, for us, there's only one verb to be, so you kind of just have to remember the situations when to use ser and estar. For you, it's the same with make and do. There's not always like a very clear answer. There's more just like patterns. Okay, when we're talking about food, the better word is make. When we're talking about cleaning, it's better do. I've just realized I had yeah, we call that a fossilized error, my friend. You have it with, a lot of people have this. A lot of very advanced speakers get the word people confused about whether it's singular or plural. The pilot made do. I would say, remember, okay, this is another tip. After a phrasal verb, you want to use an ing verb if you add another verb after a phrasal verb. And that's like pretty much a rule in English. That's nice. Like, we don't always have rules. This is a rule. So the pilot made do taking off. We're going to use an ing verb. Yeah, we're going to use an ing verb after a phrasal verb. En Chile decimos, va a tener que ser nomás. That's a good, yeah, exactly. That's a good Chilean way of saying the same idea. Yeah, to make is like to create or prepare. Can anyone else think of another phrase that uses make? So we talked about making money, make do, make a living, make a killing, make your head spin, make your mouth water, make up your mind, make a decision. Does anyone have any other phrases that use make? Also, thank you. The pilot made do taking off the aircraft despite the bad weather. Okay, sorry, I have one more correction there. Remove the word of. So, In English, we have two options. You can say in spite of the bad weather or despite the bad weather. When you use the word despite, don't add any of after. Just directly add the thing. So, despite the bad weather. Make a joke. Yeah, exactly. Make an effort, make progress. This is another common use of make. We're going to say make related to a lot of communication words. So make a joke, make a comment, let me think. Make a joke, make a comment. There might be others, but there are some like communication words where we use the word make. I made up a story to get out of trouble. Yes, exactly. To get out of trouble. I taught some of you guys, if you were in my classes this week, I taught the phrase to get away with something. To get away with is like to get out of trouble. To make a big deal out of, make a decision, make a promise, to make your bed. That's kind of like the random one. Because if you're thinking, do is related to cleaning, and then make is related to like preparing. But then it's like you made your bed. You're not physically making your bed. So that's one where we can't always see 100% one rule. You'll have these weird things like, I made my bed. To make somebody's day? Yes, exactly. What made you attend the class? It's like what convinced you, what forced you. Make sense, make a fuss, make a run for it. Nice. Make it so. Jean-Luc Picard. Oh my gosh. Make it so. For all the Trekkies out there. To make a scene. Yeah, okay, this is a good one. I like this phrase a lot. Also, for those of you who are asking, my live classes are at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So, like New York, Miami, Santiago de Chile time. To make a scene. This is a good one. It's like if someone is very dramatic in public and everyone is watching, you're like, stop making a scene. Everyone's looking at us. Make a show of doing something. Make amends. Yeah. Another one that we can think of related to like to make up with someone is another way to say make up amends. It's to repair a relationship. To make someone do something. Yeah. To make someone do something. And that one is more common to use. Do is going to be always in the infinitive form. Make someone do something. Because, for example, the first word make is the one that you can add the ing to or no, but the second word do will just keep the same. So I'm making him do it, or I make him do it. So you can add the ing to make, but you can't add it to do, the second word. Make a man to grow. I don't know what you mean by make a man to grow. I have, on my, some of you guys asked me about classes. At the link in my bio, I have my website for group classes. We have a group classes at different levels, pre-intermediate, intermediate, and high intermediate advanced. Actually, today I'm going to add the schedule for the next month. Every class we have a lesson. Next week we're going to practice some idioms. And yeah, right now my website is in Spanish. You can still sign up from any country if it's a problem for you to understand it. I recommend getting a Chrome extension translator. I am trying to get the person that designed my website to translate it into English as soon as possible so that it won't be a problem anymore. So yeah, we'll see. The causative, yeah, it would be the causative. To make a man grow. Yeah. But I would not include the word to make a man grow. Make me feel. To make for some place. I would say like to make space or to make some room. You could use that. Make some room. Yeah, like you're taking up too much space. Make some room for me. Yeah, unfortunately, because my website was created in Spanish, we're still needing to do the process of translating it, but it will be translated. To make room. I gotta make up for the time wasted. Nice. So yeah, good job everyone. These are all really good phrases. If you wanted to practice more, there are so many resources online that have phrases to use with make versus do. I think it can sometimes be tricky to remember phrase for phrase, so it might be better to look for these sort of patterns, right? Like you make a comment, make a promise, make a joke, you make a cake, make dinner. That might be a good way to go about it. Yeah, this is one of those ones where it might feel like it's very basic. Oh, the word make. But there are so many different phrases with the word make. And there are some phrases that are kind of even like more advanced with make. So it happens in English that there are like very specific phrasal verbs or very precise phrases. I would even say if someone correctly uses the phrase to make do with something in a class, that's not a beginner student. That's like a more advanced phrase because it's very specific. So pay attention to these sort of words like make that you might think of as being more basic, because in English, if it's a more precise phrasal verb or that sort of thing, that's more of an indication that you're a more advanced speaker if you can use these sort of phrases well. Make a dent. Ooh, yeah, okay. I'll give you guys an example with make a dent. And yeah, I think next time I can do a class on do. That would be like a good one to have after this. So next week at 10 Eastern time, we'll do a class on do. Make a dent is like, a dent is an indentation. Like if you have not a hole, but like part missing of something, or like, I don't know, if your car was hit by another car and now part of the metal goes in, that's a dent. And so imagine if I have a bunch of chips, like a big box of chips, and I eat the chips like every day, but there are just so many chips. I could say, ooh, I couldn't even sorry. I couldn't even make a dent in the chips. Like, I was eating them, but there's not even, it doesn't even look that like there are any missing. That would be to make a dent in something. Dentist, yeah, is a word with Latin roots, exactly. I can't say that I know exactly what it meant in Latin, dent, but their comments didn't make a dent on my decision. Yeah, it's like to have an impact, and used a lot when you have a supply of something and you're eating a lot of it, and you're like, oh, I didn't even make a dent. I have to run and go on with the rest of my day. It's 11:11, make a wish if you're in the East Coast time zone. But I'll post this on my page. And have a good day, everyone. I will see you the next week at the same time. We'll do a class about do and phrases you can use with do. So, see everyone. Bye. Take care. Have a good Easter and a good weekend. Take care, everyone.